back on Behind the Gloves with another interview. I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sam Jones. Sam, how you been keeping, man? How's quarantine treating you?
All right, mate, not bad. Just did some fishing today. I'm getting used to doing meetings on Zoom and talking to people on Zoom. It just is what it is right now, isn't it?
It's become the new norm for now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a strange
for
world.
now.
You've still been doing business as usual.
Yeah.
I want to start off with your new fighter, and obviously he's just turned pro. John Hedges signed with Matchroom
Yeah.
as well. First of all, how did you come about knowing John, and how did you discover him essentially?
Do you know what? Tom Little told me, funnily enough, about him, not ages and ages ago. He's like, Sam, there's a kid in the amateur scene he's only a young kid, but he's top notch. And you know how Tom is, but like as much as a joker Tom is, he does know his boxing.
Yeah.
So I had a look into him, and then I watched his last fight. I thought, he looks pretty special. And then I've seen him spar, and like he's a. I'm not just saying this, but he's got the potential to be a real superstar in boxing, John.
Okay. So, what's sort of the strategy for him? Obviously, right now it's kind of hard to gauge how we're gonna do what. Obviously, Eddie's got his back garden planned out. Is there any sort of idea of when he can make his debut?
Mate, to be honest, mate, he sells lots of tickets. Like, he filled the place up for his amateur fights, so he's going to do even better than that in the pros. So I'm happy to wait with John and towards the end of the year and to see if there's a potential idea if there's a small crowds allowed to come back. But we're in no rush to get him out, because we want to bet him in. We'll get him some proper solid sparring and a big debut in the fall of this year.
Yeah. And what's the first sort of the first 12 months of a young fighter is always key. Some people like to I wouldn't say rush it, but they'll have like 5 fights within the year or 6 fights. But some prospects like to take their time. Especially, I think big ticket sellers sometimes want to take their time, gauge into it. What's sort of the strategy for him in that first 12-month period?
I would like to get it once he starts.
Hold on, mate, you're freezing.
He starts his.
Hello?
You there?
Yeah, you froze up.
Pause 1 second. Let me just charge my phone.
Go for it.
1 second. Okay. Sorry, mate. Oi. Okay. Yeah, back again.
Good. Go ahead.
Yeah. Where were we?
First 12 months of John's sort of career. What's the strategy behind it?
So basically, what we're going to do is when John has his first fight, I would like to get him fighting as much as possible. 5-6 times minimum in his first year, especially like going into next year.
Okay, that's interesting, because I always find that interesting, because sometimes you don't know whether especially he's only young. How old is he?
18.
So especially an 18-year-old, sometimes they like to hold off a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see him fight that many times in a year for sure. Another one of your fighters fought 2 nights ago. Your heavyweight prospect, Guido Vianello. Another knockout.
Guido.
Say again.
You get me? Guido.
Oh, Guido. What did I say? Guido.
Guido. Everyone says Tyson Fury likes to call him Guido. Like, Tyson calls him Guido all the time.
I can't pronounce it. I had struggled like actually reading. I was trying to pronounce it earlier. I was like Guido, Vianello.
Guido Vianello. That's it.
Guido Vianello. 7th knockout. You've got high praise for him, like serious praise.
Yeah.
He's the next real deal. Tell the fans who don't actually know more about him what they can expect to actually tune in the next time he does fight.
Well, just to go with Guido and how it kind of started. Guido never had any sparring, and in Italy, boxing's not a big sport in Italy. So he's never had any competitive sparring going into big tournaments. Like when he went to the Olympic Games, he never had any competitive sparring. That's why he came to the UK to David Hayes' gym to spar Joe Joyce. It's where I first laid eyes on him, basically, and I thought he's got the potential to be special. And I remember David Hay being so impressed with him, and we was all like, "This guy's king. This guy's. I mean, he's good looking. He can now talk English. 2 years ago, he never said a word of English. Never spoke a word of English. He came to the gym, and he didn't understand anything other than hello and goodbye. That was it. So 2 years later, he's almost fluent in English because he's studies very hard. He's such a down-to-earth character. Like people, my phone's been non-stop. People wanting to sponsor him, endorsements, like because he's most importantly, he's a lovely guy. And he's the best guy you can imagine to work with, and he's a special talent. He really is a special talent. Like I was so impressed with how the speed of his jab, like everything's coming together. We're not going to rush him because I think we've got something special on our hands, but we are looking to get him into a decent fight early part of next year, hopefully against Sonny Conter. They're on a collision course, 2 young heavyweights in the top rank stable. We want him. We've made it very clear to Bob and Top Rank. We want Sonny Conter next year. I would love to fight him in Italy as well.
That would be quite something as well, wouldn't it? Italy definitely doesn't have a star fighter or anyone really representing.
100%.
I feel like there could be massive support out there, especially for a heavyweight.
Listen, if Guido came back, which he will, hopefully next year, to have a decent fight, because we're not going to bring him back to have like a knockover job. We're not going to do that. We are really not going to do that. We want a competitive fight. So him against Sonny Conter makes the most sense. 2 young heavyweights, and let's see.
For sure, it's going to be interesting to see that. I didn't know that, so definitely when 2 young fighters clash early parts of their career, it's always exciting. Talking about fighters clashing early on in their career, we didn't get to see Joe's professional career be taken to the next level. Obviously with the Daniel Dubois fight. I spoke to Joe a couple of weeks ago. He was saying that that fight, obviously, and it makes total sense. It's just logic. That fight has to be in front of a crowd. It's going to be a packed out arena. What is it looking like? What's going on now behind the scenes with that fight? Is Joe going to come back and fight behind closed doors maybe 1 or 2 times before they have a Dubois fight, or what's going on?
Do you know what it is, Fouad? We've made it very clear we'll fight Daniel Dubois in 2 weeks' time. It doesn't matter whether it's behind closed doors, whether it's in front of a crowd, no problem. But Frank's the promoter, and Frank, and I do agree, and I agree with Frank, the fight has to be behind. The fight is going to be always, it's like if Joshua fought AJ this year, would want it in front of a crowd because it deserves a crowd. It's big fights. I'm not comparing the levels of fights, but Joe Dubois is a big fight, especially domestically. It's a big fight. So, yes, it's in a real world, like because of the world we're in at the moment, we just don't know when there's going to be a crowd. But when the crowds come back, the boys can get it on, and it's going to be a great spectacle. But until then, Joe needs a fight. Joe's not fought since last year. No fault of his own. It's no fault of ours. We was going to fight Marco Huck for the European title in January. Marco Huck pulled out a week before the fight. So that's no fault of ours. We've moved into the Dubois fight. We went to Vegas, prepared. Unbelievably, coronavirus took out the fight. So Joe's had some bad luck. So Joe's going to have a fight definitely once or twice before the end of the year, for sure.
Have you got any sort of names in your head that could be before Dubois? Anyone specific?
I don't know. I don't know. It will have to be a domestic kind of fight, just like I don't want to disrespect anyone by calling it a takeover. Do you know what I mean? To like, I don't know, something like Nick Webb, maybe somebody along those lines. Maybe like just a keep kind of busy fight. I don't want to disrespect Nick because he's had a great win in his last fight. So it's a decent fight because I don't want Joe to fight someone that's got 100 losses on their record, and it's just pointless. Joe needs ring time. So and before anyone comes at all the comments saying, he wants to fight Nick Webb. Oh yeah, Nick Webb. It's just I'm thinking of a name at the top of my head. Do you know what I mean? Like somebody that's going to give us rounds.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Obviously, you have to going in there knocking someone out within the first round won't really make up for the time out. So that makes total sense to get someone who's going to give those rounds. Let's move on. I want to talk about some news that broke 2 days ago. Or was it yesterday? I can't remember. Lost the days of quarantine, mate. But Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury apparently coming to a verbal agreement of some two-fight deal. Nothing's been signed. They've got a lot of obstacles to overcome. First of all, I've not asked this question to anyone, but I'm asking it because do you think this is all like, I don't know, I don't want to say legit, but because until something's signed in boxing, I never want to believe it. Until there is actual paper proof that this is going to happen, I don't
know what you mean,
Because also, when you look at it, they've still got the WBO to deal with because the WBO won't budge. They said that, Usyk's next, Usyk has to be next. Or if, Chisora fights Usyk and beats him, whatever, the WBO mandatory has to be next. And then we've still got Dylan in the mix. Is this realistic? What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah, it is realistic. It's sad for Dylan because Dylan deserves his world title shot. I like Dylan. He's grafted hard. He deserves his title shot. But undisputed fights, unfortunately, take precedent over everything. The WBO are not going to say, oh, they don't want their belt on the line against Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua. They're just not going to say that.
Well, didn't you hear what they said, though? Did you read what they said?
It's not going to come to it. It's not going to come to it. I don't care. I honestly don't care what they said. It's if Anthony Joshua fights Tyson Fury, everybody is going to want their belt on the line. Everybody. It doesn't matter what belts are on the line. They're going to want their belts on the line. Do you know what I mean? So, I think that what's going to happen is, listen, Tyson Fury has to get past Wilder again. And as much as I think Wilder's Tyson Fury, I even said on Tyson's comeback fight against him, he's going to beat Wilder because Tyson's so naturally gifted. But he's still fighting a huge, dangerous puncher in Wilder. I told you, he's the heaviest, most dangerous puncher there's probably been since a young Mike Tyson. Do you know what I mean? He's a dangerous man. Get past him. Joshua has to get past Tobrat Pulev, and Pulev's not a bum. Pulev's fought at the highest level. So he's not going to be a pushover, but I expect them both to come through. And yes, I do expect them both to fight each other. I would say April of next year in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I think it's Kuwait they're talking about. I think that's where MTK have sort of. Is it Kuwait? Oh, Bahrain. That's what it is.
Let's be honest. Yeah, Bahrain or Saudi Arabia. It doesn't. As a fan, this is me talking as a boxing fan. I would love it to be at Wembley Stadium,
Of course.
You, me, we're all fans. We're all fans. Apart, if my fighters are involved, I'm a fan, I go to a boxing match as a boxing fan. Now, we can't moan if the fight gets made and it's in Saudi Arabia because we should just be happy that the fight is happening, We should just be happy. But in an ideal world, we'd all love it at Wembley Stadium. We'd all love it to be in our back gardens, our national stadium. That's where it should be happening. But unfortunately, you can't sit there and say to Tyson Fury and Joshua, take a 50 million pound pay cut, 50, because we're talking these types, possibly more, just to appease, just to make the fans happy. It's just not going to happen. If it was a few million, I should imagine both boys would say, come on then, let's do it at the Wembley. But we're not talking a couple, we're talking huge amounts of money here. So let's just be happy as fans that the fight is looking as though it's going to happen. It's going to happen next year. We should all just be grateful that the fight's happening, because me as a fan, I respect Joshua. Tyson's my mate, so it's a different thing, but I respect both fighters. They're both great fighters. Two Dins clashing for all the belts. It doesn't get any bigger than that.
Yeah, for real. It makes sense. You can't really tell a fighter to take a pay cut because you want to see the atmosphere. If anything, look, the UK fans are the best fans in the world, in my opinion. Let's go over to Kuwait or Bahrain and take over there. I mean, it's a bit more lenient than Saudi Arabia, from what I know. And I'm sure if it is in Bahrain, a lot of UK fans can go over and it'll be crazy for sure. Sticking with the heavyweights, I've got one question to ask you. And
exactly.
It intrigues me because Deontay Wilder, there was talks of him. Obviously, we know now that he will probably end up fighting Fury again for the third time, maybe. Yeah. But if you were in his corner, if you were managing him, he had the option to possibly step aside, take money, and step aside and fight the winner of Joshua Fury. What would you advise a fighter in that position? Because let's be honest, in his last fight he got beat quite bad. Like it's just plain fact.
You was about to say
Yeah.
battered. You was
No,
about
don't say
to
that.
say battered.
I'm not saying that.
He
But
did.
he got beat.
He got a pasting. He did. He got a pasting. He really did get a pasting. But if listen, Deontay Wilder, I've met a few times. I won't say I know him, but I've met him a few times, and I kind of gauge his personality. I know I'm very close friends with one of his closest friends, Malik Scott, and Malik told me that he was hurt badly. He was really, really, really hurt badly by the fight. So Deontay Wilder, being the competitor he is, he wants to get revenge because he was humiliated in a sense. So it's his biggest payday. He wants revenge. He's always got a puncher's chance because of how hard he hits. 100%, I'd get back in there, take your biggest payday. And look, at the end of the day, I believe it's going to go down. Tyson Fury is going to go down as an all-time great. So Deontay Wilder's got no shame in losing to Tyson Fury.
Well, that's a good way to put it. It is. Another
That's
question.
my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely a good way to put it. Especially I think Deontay Wilder is the oldest heavyweight out of the lot. I mean, he's not much older, but he's old. He's older than the others, so he's probably and we don't know in boxing, right? If Tyson goes and fights Joshua, there could be a rematch, there could be a trilogy, and Wilder might be completely.
100%. If Tyson Fury against Joshua was close, which I'm personally, my honest, humble opinion, I don't believe it's going to be that close. I think Tyson Fury is going to win. But it could be. I could be massively wrong. Joshua's not like Wilder. Joshua is physically stronger than Deontay Wilder. Doesn't punch as hard, but he's physically stronger. So Tyson won't be able to bully him the way he did for Wilder. So I don't know how that fight goes, but I would personally back Tyson to win it. But I do think if it's remotely close, they're going to do 2 or 3 fights because of the revenue it's going to generate alone.
Yeah, for sure, and also like they're both champions, so a champion has a right to.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. It's absolutely huge for world boxing.
I'm gonna put you in another scenario, kind of walking away from the heavyweights, but we were asking this question to coaches, managers, and fighters. If a fighter comes back from this quarantine session, and remember that everyone's kind of sort of had similar time off in the sense of what they do with training. If a fighter takes a step-up fight or a takeover fight, right? Would you consider that ducking?
Yeah. What do you mean? In what sense?
So the prime example we always used is the Lomachenko Lopez fight, right? Lomachenko comes back and he instead of fighting Lopez, which they are fighting, by the way, instead of fighting Lopez, he goes and fights just another guy, not really, not Lopez, essentially. Would you consider that ducking, or would you consider that, you let him off for coming back?
If Lomachenko was getting the same money to fight Lopez in behind closed doors as he would with a packed out arena in New York, then no. Well, no, you can't. No, I don't believe you can, because I don't believe how you can call Lomachenko ducking anybody. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a great fight, by the way. Yeah, and I don't at all. I think it depends. Like it depends on something how long they've been out for. Like Joe Joyce, we're happy to fight Daniel Dubois now, but like it's getting to the point where it's becoming nearly a year since Joe was in the ring. So Joe needs a fight. Joe really does need a fight, especially to dust the cobwebs off. It would be stupid of me to put if it goes anything over September. Joe needs a warm-up fight before he fights Daniel Dubois. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, obviously. So I guess you can't really. It depends situation per situation, right? It depends from fighter to fighter.
It depends the situation. It depends the situation, mate. It really does. It's like if I fought 4 months ago, and then they say, no, I need a warm-up fight. Why do you need a warm-up fight? You only fought 4 months ago. Do you know what I mean? So like, I would. It's a weird situation, to be honest, mate. We're all in a weird situation.
Trust me, I am. My mind is like half just boggled. I don't know what day it is. I don't even keep up with the days.
Listen, and everyone wakes up and like I'm sure like how I do. I wake up and I promise you, I have zero clue what day it is.
Yeah, we're just lost, mate. We're in a very strange time, and you know what? You know what's even more stranger? Just how day by day everything gets worse, because there's always something. There's always something that's going off, and we've seen in the last few days.
That's the problem. That's the problem with life at the moment, because if you make the smallest mistake, especially as an athlete, if you tweet the wrong thing, yeah, you get all the predators just coming to try and ruin your life. I think people are commenting on things that they're not really bothered about. They're just really bored. So they're just commenting. They're just sticking their 2 pence in. Oh, Joshua's racist.
There you go. You've literally gone onto the question I was going to go on.
Yeah, like you don't. He's not racist, and also you don't really care. You don't care. These angry people. It's racist. Like you don't care. You're just saying that because you're bored and you want a good row to get your juices flowing. Pisses me off, to be honest.
What did you think of what the words he used, and what was your instant when you saw it? What was your instant reaction?
Well, my honest reaction, I thought, I have to listen to that again. That's what I honestly thought. But when you listen to it, it is what it is. It's a strong subject at the moment. It's a very sensitive subject for everyone at the moment. It's something he's passionate about. He was reading out something that someone gave it to him. Should he? I believe he should have probably. Do you know his reaction tweet when he's told everyone to like kind of f off? Yeah, I thought he could have been clarified what he meant rather than say that. But do I think he's racist? No.
Yeah. But even in a situation, even in a situation like that, Sam, you know, when it's such a sensitive topic, and let's be honest, like if there's one community that deserves justice, I'm not saying anyone else doesn't, but it's just incredibly bad how much stuff Black people have to go through on a daily basis from history to now.
Yeah,
it's incredibly sad and bad. So you can
100%.
understand, even though he is a public figure and champion of the world, if I was at that position, I would hit out. Like, why are you all clapping back at me when my words weren't even a big thing? The whole deal is Black Lives Matter. This is a big thing that we have to fight. So do you really blame him for putting it how he did? I think for once, it was perfect. You just outright say it.
Not at all. I'm not saying I blame him. I'm just saying that in an ideal situation, like if I was advising him, I'd be like, AJ, probably clarify to the slower people, clarify to the people what you was the point you was making. Like, because it's obviously just people have just either misinterpret or they wanted to take it the wrong way and they wanted to have an excuse to hate AJ. Do you know what I mean? As I say, people are just bored and people want to have arguments with people right now.
Yeah.
If AJ would have said that and we weren't in lockdown, nobody would have said anything.
I agree with you, to be honest, mate.
That's just my opinion.
People have, like, I don't have the biggest social media following, and on certain applications where I'm voicing my opinion, and I'm defending what AJ said because I don't see a problem with it. The amount of stick I'm getting, I'm like, whoa, where'd you guys have time for this? Like, you don't even know me.
And then you're racist.
Yeah, I've got that. I've got that. People like you. I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm not. I don't get it. It's just incredible.
It's a crazy world. As I say before, people are just so, because people are frustrated and bored at the moment. A lot of people are. They don't, as I say, like, die, racist, die. Everyone's losing their minds a little bit. If I'm honest, everyone that the world is a shitty place at the moment. Yeah, it's a shitty place at the moment, and the sooner this virus just fucks off, the better.
Yeah, that's true. Well, it seems like, God willing, we're coming to a certain point. I don't know. The lockdown seems like they're taking off a certain few restrictions. The death rate is lowering down. The infection rate's going down. It's just a matter of time. Hopefully. Yeah. One last thing I want to talk about is your good friend Heavy D making a music video.
Oh, mate.
Come on, Sam. What's going on here? Is this? Are we gonna see you in the ring? Like, we know your position in boxing, but are we actually gonna see Sam Jones in a boxing ring?
I said, one condition: all the proceeds go half to the NHS, half to the kids in Palestine. I'll punch him for charity, no problem. Have you seen his new hair? It looks like an inflatable strawberry.
I need to do a little press conference with you two. I need to get both of you on.
I'm not doing any press conference with that flipping Pat Butcher looking like weirdo. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's enough of him.
Have you seen the music videos he's making for you?
Mate, listen, if he wants to make a music video regardless, listen, mate, oh God, like what a target to punch as well. What a target. His big swelt head. Anyway, it's another subject.
Please just make it happen. Either way, once we're out of quarantine,
Listen, mate, I've just told you my stipulation. If he agrees to those, which he has, he verbally said that.
Okay.
I'll just beat him up and then we'll just go with it. But it'll be my first and only time ever doing this because it's for a good cause. So that's the only reason why I do it. Because I don't want to take out the great sport and put it and disrespect like that. But he is worth giving a good kick into.
Fair enough. There you go. You can have it. Heavy D, if you're listening in, make sure to sign the contract and let's get the proceedings off to a good cause as well. Sam, any final message to the fans watching?
Yeah, just get behind all the fighters. Keep supporting the boys, and I'll hopefully see you soon where we don't have to do this on a camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of missing the you know what, one thing I am actually missing is the interaction more than anything. Like, boxing's great. I love boxing, you know, but we get it, or we can watch it on the TV even now, or look back on fights, but I think it's interaction within, you know, friends and people, you know, and seeing people. That's the main thing that I'm missing.
There's nothing better than a good fight night. There's nothing better, and hopefully again the world goes back to normal soon before everybody loses their goddamn minds anymore.
True.
Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do so by clicking this icon right here and hit the bell button so you can get notified every time we upload a new video. And we also have a free app available on iTunes and Google Play, so make sure you go and download that. Bye Fight fans.